Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to Satyan Education Services. This is me, Miss Sara Liaquat. Today is our 16th lecture of English language for class 6. So students, today we are going to discuss chapter number 20, which is verbs, finite and non-finite verbs. Here you can see some contents over here to be discussed today. First, the introduction of finite and non-finite, then finite verb, then non-finite verbs, types of non-finite verbs and its identification. And in the end, I gave you the home task, students. So students, what is finite and non-finite verbs? There are mainly two types of verbs in English, which is finite or non-finite. Finite verb changes their forms when there is a change in the number or person of the subject. Okay, and finite verbs also have different forms in different tenses, but on the other hand, in non-finite verbs do not change their form when the number or person of the subject changes. There are mainly three types of non-finite verbs: infinitives, gerunds, and participles, and we are going to discuss all three types as well as finite verbs. A finite verb is vital to a sentence and is closely connected to the subject. It shows tense and agrees with the subject in number and person. Finite verbs changes their form according to the subject of the sentence. For example, if I say he taught us how to make a pie chart, or Suleiman teaches English to senior students. In the sentence, the verb teach functions as a finite verb. It shows tense and changes its form to agree with the subject in each case. So students, what are infinite verbs forms? Opening the door, she saw red scratched mark on the landing. In the first sentence, the present participle of the verb open is used to introduce a phrase. It is not governed by the subject she. I think sleeping is a waste of time. In this sentence, the present participle of the verb sleep is used as a noun. It is not governed by the subject I. Non-finite verbs are not bounded by rules of the subject-verb agreement. A sentence without a finite verb does not make sense, but a non-finite verb is generally an extension of a sentence. Can be left out, the sentence will still be complete. If we can say, we can try, this sentence is complete. We can try writing to him. The first sentence is complete even without the extension. And in this sentence, when we say that writing does not change nor to write, and when we say much more about non-finite verbs do not change their form, even the person or the number of the subject changes nor the tense of the sentence. As you can see in the example, they want to eat something delicious. She wants to eat something delicious. And on the other hand, as you can also read with me, non-finite verb forms do not show tense, person or number. Typically, they are infinitive form with and without to. For example, to go and just go. Ing forms and ed forms, for example, going and gone, that means the past participle, and the ing forms. She tiptoed round the house so as not to wake anyone. You need to paint the whole cupboard starting from the bottom. These sentences are the finest example of non-finite verb. So students, there are three types of non-finite verbs: gerunds, participles and infinitives. Let's talk about the infinitives. In the sentence, if I say she loves to sing, loves is a finite verb, but to sing has no subject. It is also not bounded by any number, person or tense. it is called the infinitive form of the verb. The infinitives, which consist of word to plus verb, simply names an action and is used mostly as the complement of a verb and sometimes as a subject. Infinitive without to. It is easy to spot an infinitive when it follows to, but it is not easy when infinitives do not have to before them. Like if I say in the example, she saw me run to the class. Here run is infinitive. He could see the crowd mill around her. Mill over here is infinitive without to. Now let me tell you the uses of the infinitives. Sometimes the infinitive is used to join sentences. Sometimes the infinitives can be used to substitute for so that. If I say this book is so difficult that I cannot understand it, I will convert it into infinitive like this book is too difficult to understand. Now let's talk about the gerunds. The gerunds is a non-finite verb form that is used as noun. I love swimming. The above in the sentence, the answer the question I love what? Swimming. The present participle of a verb is used here as a noun. Hence it is gerund. If I say in an example, she hates studying. What is studying over here? Yes, it is gerund. The uses of gerunds are gerunds can be used as noun like I love reading, cycling is an excellent form of exercise. Certain verbs and adjectives are always followed by particular prepositions. Such verbs and adjectives must be followed first by their preposition. Students, keep all those things in your mind and also read the slides by your own self for your better learning and for your better understanding of any individual particular topic. Okay, let's move forward. I tell you about that such verbs and adjectives must be followed first by their preposition and then by the gerund. The use of the infinitive to in such cases would be wrong. Students, keep the second point in your mind that the use of the infinitive to in such sentences would be wrong. Yes, I am interested in reading or I am interested to read. Here to read is the wrong answer. Let's talk about the participle. The present participle can be used as an adjective. For example, the moving object turned out to be a rat. Here, the participle moving describes the word object. It is used as an adjective. The present participle is formed by adding ing to the base form of the verb and is generally used to join an introductory statement and to the main statement. Like if I say, passing the beggar, the lady gave him some money. Here you can see passing is the present participle and it is the base form of verb. The third form of the verb is the past participle. The past participle of regular verbs is formed by adding d, ed, en and so on to the verb. If I say he is retired singer, the past participle can also be used alone. So students, let's talk about the differences between finite and non-finite verb. It is for your better learning that I distributed both finite and in non-finite on the opposite sides for your better understanding and for your better learning that finite verb forms act as a verb but non-finite verbs forms do not act as a verb. Infinite verb I'm talking about infinite verbs act as the main verb of the sentence or a clause. But on the other hand, non-finite verbs act as nouns, adjectives and adverbs. Finite verbs indicate number, person and tense. But in non-finite verbs, on the other hand, non-finite verbs do not indicate number, person and tense. When we talk about finite verbs are used in the present tense and in the past tense. But as we all know that non-finite verbs have three kinds, which are infinitive, gerunds and participle. So my dear students, now this is your home task time. All you need to do is to read this chapter thoroughly. Read it, read the definitions for your good learning, for your better learning. All you need to do is to do exercise A in your books. In exercise A, in each of the sentence, identify the finite and non-finite verb by underlining them and writing F under the finite verbs and I under the infinite verbs. One has been done for you as an example. So students, you have to do 1 till 5 in your books. That is mandatory for you, that you have to do it in your books. Write the date on the top of your page. It is on page number 96. Keep that thing in your mind that it is on page number 96. You need to do it in your books from 1 till 5 sentences. Here in number 2, I will also tell you in the next slide. So students, here you can see I have solved all 5 points over here for your good understanding, better understanding. But all you need to do is to do it by your own self, then check it from this slide. In point number 2, I am surprised at the response of the readers. Here surprised is verb, but what kind of verb? Whether it is finite or infinite. We can have two, like both finite and infinite in a single sentence, but we have to identify whether it is finite or infinite. Here surprised, here in point number 2, am surprised is finite. Let's talk about point number 3, I like to paint. What to paint ko to dekh, when we see to paint, it comes infinitives in our mind, right? So it is non-finite or infinite. Okay. And in point number 3, like is finite, and you have to do rest of the 2 points by your own self for your good learning, for your better learning. Try to read this chapter again and again thoroughly. Also try to understand what the writer or author or the grammar tells us, how we can make more suitable sentences by using these grammar things. So students, take good care of yourself. This is the end of our lecture, today's lecture. Take care. Allah Hafiz. This is me, Sara Liaquat, signing off.